Hi everyone, I've got another AMA question. This one is from Interpopular. How much has social media influenced the modern directions of feminism that you have critiqued in your book? There's a lot to say here, but there's just one element of this that I want to talk about now briefly, which is the fact that we are mimetic. We are a mimetic species. We're very, very attuned to our social environments, very interested in coalition building and in fashion and all this stuff. And the group that is really, really sensitive to this, more so than any other demographic, is teenage girls, for adaptive reasons. It seems it's very important for teenage girls to be hyper socially sensitive because they're a very vulnerable group. One theory about this, one obvious reason as to why young women would be particularly concerned about social status and coalition building is because they have children, they need help with young children, they need to protect both themselves and their children from harm. They're very physically vulnerable, and the best way of doing this is to be uber socially sensitive. Another theory, which is interesting as to why young women might have become the most socially sensitive group, is also to protect themselves from sexual violence. If you have a network of trusted female friends with whom you can basically share Me Too stories, you can learn who are the men to watch out for, and you can find female allies. And, this is all a kind of social technology to protect against being physically vulnerable. There's a downside though, right? Young women are particularly sensitive to bad ideas that are spread through social contagion. So whenever you have any kind of psychiatric condition which is socially contagious, so a recent example would be girls on TikTok giving each other Tourette's, right? Trans is another, or rapid onset gender dysphoria is another obvious example. There's also lots of historical examples. Some of the madness or hallucinations associated with witch trials, the dancing plagues, hysteria, various examples of this. Multiple personality disorder is another one. These are all contagious mental illnesses that either originated with or spread most rapidly within the female teenage population. That's just the clearest, that's the most extreme example of what teenage girls are vulnerable to in terms of picking up harmful ideas from each other. I think that this is also true in relation to a lot of the sexual culture stuff that I write about in the book. I mean, historically, teenage girls, and they still do, but it was more pronounced before the sexual revolution, used to slut shame each other a lot and would basically enforce the more conservative sexual culture among their peers. In a funny kind of way, at least in some social circles, that has flipped, and now you will get girls going on Instagram or going on TikTok and showing off the bruises that their boyfriends have given them during sex, make a big fuss about how sexually adventurous they are, how much they love BDSM. All this choking stuff is a lot of it is spread through girls thinking that it's high status, that it's a sign of being a cool girl. And social media is the perfect vector for these kind of ideas. And, particularly when it's not, one of the arguments that I make in my chapter on BDSM is that girls don't really understand. They don't just understand the male perspective on BDSM and on choking. They don't understand that a man, what they will often perceive as a sign of romantic passion, is not necessarily at all a sign of romantic passion. It can be a sign of aggression and contempt, right? But that's left out of all of the viral social media posts promoting this kind of stuff. Social media is just the perfect environment for these kind of sticky cultural ideas to spread very rapidly among young women, because normally pre-internet you only have a peer group of whatever, maximum hundreds of other girls, probably smaller than that. The internet gives you access to millions of them, and the algorithm will let the most popular things float to the top of your feed. All of which is to say that, yes, I think that social media is a very big factor in all of the changes to sexual culture that I've described. And I think that for other reasons too, social media, particularly image-based social media, is really bad for teenage girls. I mean, there's lots of data showing, Jonathan Haidt has done lots of work on this, that the advent of image-based social media like Instagram coincides exactly historically with a very rapid decline in female teenage mental health, which wasn't seen to the same extent among boys at the same period. And he argues, I think, very persuasively that that it's a causal link. I think trying to get girls off those platforms and discouraging them from getting onto them in the first place, and restricting their access to smartphones and the internet and so on, is really important for a bunch of reasons, this being one important one.